Welcome to Upreach with Bob Starkey, where we are practicing practical evangelism, where the Bible meets blue jeans. Today is my privilege to be talking to Donna Strong. How are you today, Donna?
I am doing wonderful. How are you, Bob?
Very well. Beautiful day outside.
Yes, God's beautiful country.
Donna, I came across your book on Facebook and you were advertising it there, and it caught my attention. I reached out to you and you responded, and I appreciate the fellowship and encouragement and meeting a new friend.
Yes, amen.
Trust, total reliance under stressful times. And you were talking to me earlier. You wrote the book about a year ago, and you were talking about your singing ministry. Donna, it's
Hmm.
interesting. I was looking for some of your songs online. Is there a place where we
Oh,
can find your music?
well, we actually had a website for a while and we had to take it down because somebody in a foreign country decided they wanted it. And
Oh
so
no.
we didn't get to keep that. But we do have music at YouTube, and it's also available through FAIRE.com, which is a retail store for bookstores and such, so people can pick it up there as well, and then they can contact me. I still have a few cases in my garage.
Donna, I would like to follow your music on YouTube. What's the page name?
It will be under Hearts of Faith.
All right. Well, I'm
Yeah,
looking forward to checking it out.
thank you, appreciate that.
So I was telling you, I was kind of going through your book, and I've listened to a podcast that you did and some different things that you've spoken on. And let me just say, your book is not what I expected. It it talk about trust. I was not expecting you to go down some avenues and topics that you discussed. One thing that
Mhm.
really caught my attention and really sucked me in and want to learn more, and it was educational for me, is you talked about trusting others. I was thinking the
Mhm.
book was going to be primarily about trusting the Lord, but you had a lot to say about trusting others.
I do. And, one of the things that I wanted to share in the book about trust is our ultimate trust has to be in God. But we also have to learn through discernment and through spiritual eyesight that God gives us, who it is we can trust and maybe who it is we can't trust, because we can find ourselves in situations many times where we think that we can trust an individual, and then that trust just blows up in front of our face. And it's at that point in time where we have to take that and then look to God and know that He is the ultimate one that we can trust.
I noticed that something that you talk about and have a background with is church hurt and going through
Yes.
challenges within church. And I believe more than ever, this is a hot topic. This is something that people are going through and
Right.
experiencing. And so when you started talking about it, my ears perked up and I thought, I need to hear more. Church hurt.
Hmm.
What do you think? Do you see that in our churches today? I know you were traveling, doing singing. Is this
Right.
as dominant as I think it is?
It it is not as much dominant as it used to be, I don't think, because I think finally people are realizing how much their words do affect people. Um, I've heard growing up say, oh, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. That is a lie. I mean, that is just a lie.
Right.
Names and things that people speak do affect people, sometimes for a lifetime if it's not fixed. And I'm sure every one of us can think about things maybe in elementary school or junior high when we went through things that people said or did to us that years later is still with us. And it may not be a deep spiritual hurt, but when it's within the church, it is a hurt to us as an individual, and then it's a hurt to us as a Christian, as a brother and sister in the Lord, when someone within a church hurts you, because it's almost like a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
And churches, I think, are finally starting to realize that it's not so much maybe what they say, but how they say it. I wish the people on Facebook could figure that out, because that social media, I think, oh my, it has taken so much of just like,
Discernment.
yeah, I mean, it's huge in the way that people will say things on Facebook that they probably wouldn't say face to face. And they feel like there's this filter that because it's online, it's okay. And so I think in some ways, maybe some of the church hurt that has not been seen so much lately is because people are using social media to do it.
Mm.
And that's very difficult, because when you get on social media and you're seeing these words, you can't hear vocal tone, you can't hear intonations of the voice or anything like that. It's just words on a page. And it can get very daunting sometimes, the way that people say things and approach things as if, well, it's not going to hurt because I'm not talking to that person.
Donna, one word stood out to me in your acronym of trust. Trust, total reliance under stressful times. That word stressful, I guess I wasn't
Mm.
prepared for that. I was thinking about hard times or illnesses or I wasn't prepared for the word stressful. What made you come up with that particular word?
Well, I
Because I can relate,
actually
Donna.
Yeah, I actually got that entire title like that in October 2016, several years before I wrote the book and several years before we came off the road, when we were in Branson, Missouri for an annual event. And we were just in a prayer circle during a morning worship time. And I was worshiping, eyes closed, and I saw this book, Trust, Total Reliance Under Stressful Times. And I've always loved English. I'm kind of weird that way. But so for me to see that as an acronym, I would be able to remember it. And so my sister and I went to lunch and I told her, and she's like, "Oh, that is cool. That's going to be easy to remember." And then I said, "Yeah, I don't know why I saw it as a book though." And she immediately said, "Well, maybe you're supposed to write a book." And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no." So I put it on the back burner, and yet it was still there all those years, knowing that I needed to write something. So I believe that truly came from the Lord. And then as I was writing the book, I realized, I never really thought about my life being under a lot of stress or being a stressful person. And then as I looked, I thought, wow, I did come through some really stressful times. And God was the one that helped me through each and every one of those situations because I was trusting Him.
Amen. It's interesting. I've heard you speak about how the process of God revealing to you the book and the writing of it. And I was like, but I listened to your story, and it doesn't seem like that big of a surprise to us as the listeners, because this is your life. And
It is my life.
and it just seems so
Yes.
profound that it might have been a surprise to you, but the
Hmm.
fact that God wanted you to tell your story. So it's
Yes.
not just coming up with a subject or a topic maybe that you weren't experienced with, but this is something
Right.
that you lived, been there, done that.
Yes. Yes, and it was interesting because my husband asked me after I finished the book, he said, "Would you have rather that those situations didn't occur?" And I thought for a minute and I said, "Well, yeah, I guess so, as far as, you know, humanly speaking, but I am the person I am today because of those situations." And I talk about our son who was diagnosed with epilepsy at age 9. He's 31 now. We're in the middle of changing his meds at this very moment. We're going through lowering one and increasing another all these years later. And so we're still on that journey. And so, had I not gone through some of the things early in life before I married, I probably wouldn't have been able to trust as much with that situation of his health issues had I not gone through all the other. So, the Lord gives us kind of like building blocks, I
Yeah.
think, on which to build our faith and trust in Him. And when I wrote the book, I was noticing there was a lot of faith tied in with the trust. And so I asked the Lord, I was like, have I ended up writing a book on faith rather than trust when trust is the title? What is the difference? And if I am curious about anything, I just asking, you know? And so then I heard faith is knowing God can do, fill in the blank. Trust is knowing He will.
Say that
And I
again.
was like,
That's good.
okay, yeah, faith is believing God can do whatever. Trust is knowing He will.
Amen.
And when I heard that, I was like, oh. And so we have to have the faith as that building block in order for the trust to fully come.
I enjoy reading your book, Donna. I enjoy listening to you. And
Oh, thank you.
you have been very passionate about promoting this book and getting it in the hands of individuals. Just on a personal note, besides the book, which you are putting a lot of time and effort into, what else do you do? I want to say I saw something maybe like you're a woman's speaker, or tell me about your ministry.
Okay. Well, one of the things that I am doing with the book is promoting by having women's events and going out to churches. And I'm also involved in country gospel ministries. So I haven't totally given up the singing side of not being involved in things. And the headquarters is in Branson, Missouri. And I am the Eastern Region Vice President for Country Gospel Ministries. So I'm still involved in a lot of the singing events and things like that and helping others achieve what God has for them. I sing on a praise team at church once a month. I attend a weekly Bible study and I help try to lead that periodically. So I tell people there's no grass growing under my feet just because I quit singing and then wrote a book. And I have a second book that's in the works. Once again, the Lord showed me the cover, and it's going to be a devotional on hope.
Oh, nice. I enjoy listening to you speak about your story. And like I
Oh,
said,
thank
is
you.
I didn't know the specifics or the details, but as you were talking, I could relate to the feelings and the thoughts that you were expressing. And like I said, this book was not what I expected. It's very deep,
Hmm.
it's very insightful, and it covered some subjects and topics that I wasn't expecting. And it was very
Hmm.
helpful to me to listen to you speak on it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I pray that everyone that gets this book and reads it comes away just knowing that God will be there for them and feeling like they were able to see Him in my life and know that trusting Him was the reason that we came through what we did.
Donna, is Facebook the main resource to reach out to you at?
Facebook. I also have a an email address that they can reach me at, and that is trustbook2025 at gmail.com. I also have a website because I published this book myself
Wow.
through a publishing company that I began, and that is called Thoughts and Expressions LLC.com. And they can reach me from there as well. And my hope is to be able to reach out to authors in the future and help them with some of their books so that, they can get their story told as well.
And that is just it. We all have a story of what God
Yes.
is doing in our own individualistic lives. And
Hmm.
I think it's such a blessing that we're sharing these stories with others like yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Donna Strong, author of Trust, Total Reliance Under Stressful Times. Thank you for joining us today. We close out the program every week with a simple phrase where we like to say, and may the Lord be with you. Until we meet again, whether here, there, or on the air. Thank you, Donna Strong.
Thank you. Appreciate it.